Shantae, half Genie hero.
I told you we'll be back. Let's rock it, ladies and gentlemen, on RunnerGuitar, and welcome once again to Shantae, half Genie hero. Now you might be wondering, why are we back today? As you see right on the screen, the Pirates Queen quest has been released, and as a backer of the game, I got this baby for free. I've already done a playthrough of it on my computer, and I've completed the game 100%. So let's get this party started. Let's beat the fuck out of Shantae. Let's go!
There are two sides to every story. This is how it really happened.
Now, this DLC, as you're gonna be seeing right now, takes place in between when Risky steals the dynamo and Shantae unlocks herself from Nega Shantae. At this point, most of our previous playthroughs already occurred, and we are just about to see what happens in between Shantae coming back and Risky being defeated, but from Risky's perspective. I pretty much know how this thing goes. The dynamo is actually made inverted so that it can affect magic in a negative way, and thus it transforms Shantae back into Nega Shantae.
Queen of the Seven Seas!
Something that I still love about Risky is that...
You poor, unsuspecting fool.
Yeah, what you're hearing right now is Christina V, the voice actress for Shantae herself, voicing the villain. This was also the case in the original base game. However, she didn't have as many lines as Risky, and there's some lines here you can tell it's definitely Christina V. But I don't know, her acting in this is so different from everything I've heard from her before that I honestly couldn't tell it was her until I actually went on Twitter and asked. By the way, thank you, Christina V, for answering that question. Wow, thanks, Bolo. Oh. Roddy Tubbs, you have weird taste. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
I can turn anything I want
still love that.
good into evil.
And yeah, actually, surprisingly, it might just be because this DLC is much shorter than the base game. I clocked around 4 to 6 hours when I did it on my computer. But it might just be because of that amount of time, but it feels like Risky has more voice lines in this DLC than Shantae had in her own base game. Also, I love how there are lines like we just saw from Uncle Mimic right there that show that Risky is not a reliable narrator, like him saying, "Oh, I completely been defeated by your sheer genius." Like,
Everything was going.
we can't trust everything Risky's saying. Okay, Matt Bozon, I don't know if you're watching, but whose idea was it you have this as your menu screen? Like, we're gonna be seeing this screen a lot. Risky just completely naked in her bathtub. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the sight. But it's like, who thought of this idea? Also, if my voice sounds weird, I really do apologize. I am somewhat sick. I'm getting better. I'm at enough of a point that I can actually, let's play the game. But what I'll do is that every time I cough or if, my throat makes bad sounds, I'll be sure to edit them out. However, now we see from Risky's explanation here that the dynamo that they stole is not powerful enough to actually destroy the Genie realm. It needs 5 more components, which are pretty much what we're going to be obtaining throughout each and every single part of the game. We'll be revisiting areas that we went through in the base game, such as Scuttletown, the Mermaid Falls and stuff like that. And I'll admit that's kind of disappointing that there aren't any new areas in the game. Like, the level design is very much different based on Risky's toolset, which is very much like Pirate's Curse. Except, this might just be me, but Pirate's Curse always felt a bit faster to me as far as like movement speed.
You take this down.
And it always just felt faster to me in the movement of the character. But this game felt a lot slower in that sense. So that might be the one part where this game does not take from this DLC does not take from Pirate's Curse. But here we go, on to the first level, Scuttle Town.
My men! How dare they start without me! I'll punish you, but good.
Okay, okay. I have to call out the fact that her voice line and her script line are completely different. Christina V, what you doing, boy?
Ready.
Okay, something actually that I wondered is that if we would get like an evil remix of Dancing Through the Danger of like a vocal version of like Risky's theme, but that's not the case. Now, Risky herself, even though I mentioned that her gameplay style is much closer to Pirate's Curse than to Half Genie Hero, it still has its own unique elements to it. For example, as you see at the top of the screen, we can actually go between Risky's bullets, which you can fire with the circle button. Something also to call out is that Risky's early game is much tougher than Shantae's early game. So you're gonna be taking a lot of hits, and you're gonna be relying much more than Shantae on recovery items such as the watermelons, the sushi, and other stuff. So for the basic bullets we can obtain are just the basic blank bullets, which do like 1 point of damage, I believe. Then you also have the secret missile, which is more powerful than the base bullets and has homing properties. However, you can only fire them kind of slowly at this point. And the spread shot, which does more damage than the white bullets, but not by much. Also, something to call out real quick is that if we go here to our menu, you will see that we can actually level up these abilities. To do this, we need to obtain items throughout the stages, and that's what comes into the aspect of 100% in this particular DLC. Once again, just like with the base game, we're going 100% on this game. And once they release the blue costume for backers, I will do a speedrunning playthrough of Shantae, because there is actually bonus, like, it's not like you get many bonuses for doing the game under a certain amount of time, but you do get like a cool little image of Shantae in a swimsuit, very similar to Metroid, with Samus appearing in her zero suit if you manage to beat the game fast enough. So yeah, a small little reference here. Let me just lower the volume of the TV so that it doesn't pick up on the mic. And just like Shantae, unless we get an item, Risky cannot swim. However, it's not like in other games where if you touch the water you would fucking die, so that's helpful. Also, I love some of the justifications that the game comes up with for you to fight Tinkerbats or other characters. Like, Risky's just fucking mad that her men decided to start causing havoc without her. Like, she's just that frustrated and left her behind. Oh, 1 second. And yes, I know I should probably just keep going instead of focusing on enemies that are left here, but as I mentioned before, the game starts much more difficult than the base game, and so I want to get as many recovery items as I can. And luckily, the drops for recovery items in the game are of pretty good amounts. Of course, and something I should probably mention, yes, you can already see, we'll need to recover some of our items to get some other stuff. Again, Metroidvania. And just to let some new players relax, the DLC, the items that you need to upgrade your power are limited, but you will always finish the game with the correct amount of with all the items. If you collect everything, all your items will be fully powered up, so you don't need to worry about, oh, what was I gonna say? I won't be able to power up my health because I ran out of items. Like, I do recommend you do your health first. Most importantly, since the max health that you can have in this DLC is 6 hearts. And also, fucking bullshit that the game starts throwing late enemy games from the base game at you very early on. So be wary about where you stand against who. Something I should also point out is that Risky can also summon her own Tinkerbats to start doing damage. However, at this point, you can only summon one. And also, Risky cannot crawl. Why can't Metroid crawl? However, I do like that she has a somewhat spider-like pose for this. You can, her Tinkerbats cannot obtain items for her, but rather she has a slide just like this one. Now, dark magic here is what we use for our upgrades. You pretty much just go to whatever you want to upgrade in your menu. I want help, and you only need to use one dark magic in order to do that. To slide, you just hold down and press the X button. Something that I'm also not too keen on is that according to the backer updates, this is going to be the biggest DLC the game is going to get, meaning that the friend mode for Bolo, Sky, and Brothers House won't be nearly as big as this. And this DLC, like, it's fine. I just wish it was bigger. Like, I expected something bigger than what we got personally, and I'm just hoping that the friend mode isn't like a very weak DLC. Like, I hope it's bigger than. I was hoping it was be somewhere around the size of this, or maybe around the size of the base game. But oh, what can you do? I do still appreciate the amount of effort that WayForward has put into the game, and a lot of the fixes that they have done for the game, such as glitches, putting it to the Switch and stuff like that. We're still playing it on the PlayStation 4 right now, simply because that's the easiest version for me to record, and because that's the version that I got from my backer kit. Also, I would like to also say an extra thanks for to WayForward for a treatment that they did to backers of the game. What happened was, for some reason, they were having trouble sending DLC codes for this particular DLC. So they wanted to make sure that backers of the game were able to play it before the common consumer. So they actually sent out free copies of the Steam version of the game to consumers that were not able to get their codes before they released the DLC publicly. They really do appreciate the fact that they did that for their backers, if only so they could enjoy the game before, as they were promised. The version I'm playing right now is from that DLC code fiasco. Well, not fiasco, DLC code problem. If it was a fiasco, it would be like, oh, sorry, they do the number 9 thing where reviewers got it before the actual backers. But point stands, thank you WayForward for treating your fans with so much respect. And now it's time to fight the Tinker Slug. Tinkerbad Turncoats. I actually do like also that the subtitles change depending on who's fighting. So like, because of the poop toot joke from Shantae's base game, the subtitle was don't call it poop toot, but here is the Tinkerbad Turncoats, in which they might as well just be committing mutiny. Though I don't particularly like that Risky doesn't have her own comment, because like in the base game Shantae would have like a small little like phrase before the fight would start, or around the time the fight started, being you a hint about what to do. And Risky doesn't do that. I'm guessing because the game, the DLC expects you to have already done that. But I don't know. It was just nice to have like a little moment, a character moment before the fight actually started. And also another thing that I'm not too keen on is that the strategies for the fights remain pretty much the same. There isn't much variation from what was in the base game. For the Tinker Slug, just hit the bell, and once the bomb appears, just hit it onto the Tinker Slug, hit the Tinker Slug a bunch of times, and then wait for the bomb to be set again.
Don't you dare defy me again! Got it! Weigh anchor! Shove off!
Guys, you forgot.
Don't leave without your captain!
Yeah, too late for that, Risky. These are first item. These are, I believe, are the eyes and the face of the what's his face? Of the dynamo. My apologies. Of the dynamo from the end game of the base game. Now, something I also. Oh yeah, there's also a little moment here where like you can almost see all of Risky's tits first of all, but also you, the Tinker, you are obtaining your items from Pirate's Curse slowly, which is weird. The fact that
if this thing doesn't work, it'll be your heads.
The fact that you are slowly getting your items, like did they get damaged in between Pirate's Curse and this game? Because I would expect Risky to start with all of her items at the very beginning, but what can you do? Another element that I do like about this DLC is that, as you can see now, you can go to any level in whichever order you want. However, I do believe that the set order of the base game is also the correct order for this as far as difficulty goes. So next we're going to the Mermaid Falls. with a hint of nerd stench. Okay, so when I first read that line, I thought she was actually referring to Shantae, like, fuck, that Genie was here. Smells of trash.
I'll take what I want.
I actually wonder how much fun did Christina V have voicing Risky and Shantae. Like, they're very different characters as far as their voices go, so like, I love how over the top, like, Saturday Night villain Christina V went for Risky Boots, and I'm wondering how much fun she must have had in the studio just going, oh, like that evil laugh. Like, if there's something I can tell you from high school theater and from written plays, being the bad guy is a lot of fun. Like, if you get a good villain dialogue, it can be one of the most fun experiences you will ever have. Now, this is one of my least favorite and also favorite enemies in the game. This is, I forget the name of it, but we were told in the backer update. This is actually an enemy from the original Shantae, but the way you defeat is pretty much through combat similar to Link to the Past, not Link to the Past, Link's Adventure in Zelda 2. Pretty much they will block both high and low, and you need to figure out at which point they are blocking. But the best strategy probably just to mash up and down in your slashes. And yes, another interesting thing is that Risky uses a sword, her scimitar, rather than Shantae using her hair, which, considering the amount of hair that Risky actually has in that menu screen, she could probably do similar stuff to Shantae with her hair, with how big that fucking mane is. Now, differently from stuff like Parrot's Curse, you don't do a double jump motion in order to do the Parrot Hat. You just have to jump and then hold the right trigger on your controller. Now these snake enemies, they were... Wait, no, they were in another... never mind, I'm thinking about another enemy. But they will also shoot high and low, so you need to watch carefully what their animation are. What their animation is. And I will say though... oh fuck. Even though I personally prefer the art style of Parrot's Curse, and I prefer also the art style of the character screens, how Risky and Shantae look in like their dialogue screens, I will say I really do like how Risky still has a even though she still looks cute as shit in this particular sprite, she still has her own like imposing look to her. Like her face, even in this super adorable chibi sprite, still looks older than Shantae's sprite. Oh, okay game, you wanna play games with me? We'll play games. I will say that I do agree with people like Some Call Me Johnny that pirate equipment that Risky uses is much faster and much more like in the moment than Shantae's transformations. However, I do still say, and will forever say this, I will always appreciate Shantae's dancing in the same level of the pirate equipment, if only because, I don't know, I just really appreciate belly dancing as an art form. And it's just very cool to look like. She's a half Genie belly dancing hero. It makes sense that she would be able to use that at some point, aside from just being a part of her character, even if she forgets to practice every so often. God damn it, Shantae! Okay, that was close. Also, something I would like to point out is that Shantae, as I mentioned in the previous playthrough, only has the hip shimmy as one of her belly dances, as her belly dance motion. There is cut data for the game that was found where actually Shantae has different dancing motions. She was supposed to have like the one where she, like from the original Game Boy game, where she's pointing her butt at the camera and she's like shaking it forward with like a winky face or something like that. And that I will post it right now on screen along with a link to see other cut content. However, I do wonder why they cut it out, because I keep saying that it could have very easily just put it so that every time that it was like 4 bars of movement in the music, Shantae could do a different dancing motion instead of just cutting the different dances all together. So I also understand that animating those different dances takes a lot of work. I wanted to just make sure the gameplay was completely set and fine. And after giving some thought, I will still agree with Some Call Me Johnny that Parrot's Curse is the better game, but my reasoning is different from his. His reasoning was the gameplay and that this game felt incomplete. I do not think that the game felt incomplete, it just felt shorter. Though I will say that my reasoning for thinking that Pirates Curse is better is actually the plot. And I know Shantae games are not very plot focused, like they're more about the adventure and the Saturday morning cartoon antics. But the Pirates Curse plot, it gave a lot of development for both Risky and for Shantae. Like they felt a lot more developed, the writing I feel was stronger, and there was an overarching event going on, and I felt like that helped the story a lot more. With this game, every event feels episodic. Again, like I'm watching a Saturday morning cartoon, which again, a Shantae cartoon would be fucking amazing. I would fucking love that. But it does bring in the consequence that the character development from the previous games is not, that there isn't an overarching plot like with Pirates Curse. Which honestly I think might be part of the reason why in the backdoor updates there wasn't much mention about the plot. We just knew that the Genie realm was in danger, but that was about it. We knew about events, but not necessarily how the plot overtly connected. Which, again, everybody can have their own personal approach to how they want to go with their own story. Matt Bowson and his team this time decided to go with a more episodic style way of storytelling, and that's perfectly fine. Their story, their way. I personally prefer the overarching plot structure over an episodic structure. Now this section here can be somewhat of a pain in the ass. Not this one specifically, but there's one later where if you get stuck, I couldn't figure out how to get past it. If you fall off a certain platform, I don't know how you're supposed to get past that particular section, so you want to be careful as I got stuck that time and I had to reset the level. Hopefully it doesn't happen this time. Still find it, I don't know, I still really like Risky's crouch animation where she's just like sneaky. Like she's not even using her hands, like she has some strong thighs, that lady. Okay, I'm gonna kill real quick. Yep, that seems fine. Okay, so this is the section. If you fall here after doing all of the setup, you are very likely to have problems later. Okay. There we go. Let me shoot that. There we go. What happened was, I fell the first time I did that on my PC playthrough, and I ended, again, that area I got stuck and I had to reset the stage. It's admittedly a bit of a dick move, but also my own mistakes, so I don't know who to blame, the game or myself. I'll blame both. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Missed me. The reason, with these enemies again, even though I mentioned that they're very fun to fight, there isn't much strategy to them, so if you're expecting like this duel where you have to plan out, okay, I'll go down, no, it's actually going up. It's not like some fucking like fighting game meta where you have to plan out everything. Oh god, okay. Oops, okay, let's try and do that again. At least the platforms on that particular area are permanent instead of just being temporary. I believe that if you keep hitting that thing, the timer for the particular hooks reset. Oh, come on! Try that one again. I will always say these hooks are some of my least favorite gameplay elements of the game. Come on, Risky. We have work to do. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but I think Shantae waved a lot more when she was hanging from there than Risky does. Also, I forget the name of the bandmate character, the snake door woman, the one that I keep calling Naga. But I don't believe, if I remember correctly, she doesn't appear in risky mode. So for those who want to see that character again, I'm sorry. And I will say, Risky's hat completely breaks this particular section. It's very easy to do this without getting hit, simply by using the hat to avoid obstacles a bit better than with a basic jump. However, you can still get hit, so keep that in mind. There we go. Okay. Yeah, like you can still get hit, and I thought I could avoid that like by being good, but I'm not good at all. I'm not good enough. Ah, shit! I still love this song a lot. The energy to it, it's bouncy. Not Jake Kaufman's best track, but it's still pretty good. And I will say that this is not Jake Kaufman's best soundtrack. I will still say that I prefer the Paris Curse soundtrack, but this is still some very good jamming stuff. Okay, I don't want to risk it. I'm sorry. Wait, the foreground was blocking a particular bat. Fuck you, game. That's that. RunnerGuitar says this area is easily broken by the hat. RunnerGuitar proceeds to get hit by every single fucking bat. Jesus Christ. Don't fucking judge me. I like the little detail, if he even has one, because of the character design. And I will say, I also kind of dislike that they have to bring back previous villains like Techno Baron, and we'll also see Hypno Baron, Squid Baron, and Ammo Baron. I very much dislike that they bring those enemies back, rather than think of new enemies to fight with Risky's arsenal, or even making new characters that Risky could fight, like other pirates or stuff like that. Like enemies that are that not only build the world a bit more, but also give Risky her own different challenges. But also, as I mentioned before, same enemies, same locations, and same boss fights, so some fucking how, this lady got captured again. Giga Mermaid, recaptured captive. And I believe the level structure for a particular section is different. If I remember correctly, there are more locks in this particular version of the stage than in Shantae. I'm not fully sure on that. Future me, edit the answer now. Okay, and now with that, just remember how the strategy goes. The Giga Mermaid can shoot the lightning bolt, can shoot the giant lightning spears and little lightning spears that will home in on you. She does do a good amount of damage, so keep that in mind when you are trying to avoid her attacks and when you're trying to break the locks. So actually, I'm also thinking, if she got recaptured again... Whoop, wait a minute, not risking it. If she got captured again, to the point that she's angry and attacking Risky, who at this point is unwillingly trying to free her, why didn't the mermaids also attack us in the level? Like, we got attacked by the laser nagas and the crab people, but not by mermaids, which is odd considering that they were attacking us in the first place because her queen got captured. I can tank your damage! I can tank your... Oh. Well, that's done. I thought I had the top right without... Dude, I forgot I did the top right. I didn't think I had done that yet. But just like last time, the fight's not over. I still love that fucking cutaway to her face. Like, get ready, time for a critical attack. The strategy here remains the same, however, with Risky's Secret Missile, just spam that for a while. Though I will say that this fight does take a lot longer than it does with Shantae. Like, I feel like because of the guns, they increased the amount of health that the Giga Mermaid had. But yeah, for the first round, until you run out of Secret Missiles, just keep using them. Okay. Once again, she'll try and swap you with her tail, easily avoidable. So I just realized that both this game and Bloodstained Ritual Denied have a giant water lady with big breasts trying to attack the player at some point. I believe it's possible with Risky's hat to get enough height you can do 2 hits on the Giga Mermaid. Let me see if I can pull it off. Okay, apparently the tit hurts. Tits confirmed to be painful. Okay. Yeah, because Risky swings her sword much faster than Shantae, it is possible to get multiple hits if you're fast enough with the buttons. Okay, let's try and do this. But yeah, this fight does go a bit longer than it needs to because of how much they increased her health. But just like always, as soon as that's done, she explodes in this wonderful set of explosions.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
That's yes, Captain.
Okay, now make sure he's actually dead this time. I love how she is trying to make sure that the enemy remembers that she's the asshole, and I hope that they actually would be interesting if they bring back the Giga Mermaid for like Blood in the next game, and Rizu's like, hey, you're supposed to be helping me, and she's like, you both help me, what am I supposed to do?